Welcome back, beautiful and amazing people. Doc Jinzo here with another duel videos for you. Sorry about the delay. Some equipment was delayed in coming in, but I got a new microphone now. You can tell by my dulcet melodious tones here. So we got a real doozy today. We got Patrick from Top Tier Gaming yugioh on the left versus a guy from my locals, very good player, Mr. Clay Medina on the right, playing Sky Strikers. Go ahead and start us off with a Ray, going into Shizuku, setting 2, trying to get that search, but the Ash Blossom is going to pop up in that corner, just saying no there. And then Patrick's going to draw for turn. Let's see if he has a response to those 2 back row here. Sky Striker, very control-y deck, very back row heavy deck. So if he gets that Harpy's Feather Duster or any back row hate whatsoever in his hand, it's going to be a bad day for Clay here as he normal summons a Flame Buffalo. Sorry about that. A little bit early in the morning, kind of tired here. And immediately going to Judgment that Buffalo, not even going to give Patrick the chance to draw those cards by linking it off. Just going to pay half his life points right out of the gate in this game just to say no to that. And you can see here, Patrick did draw 2 Nibiru in his hand, so not the greatest, especially against a deck like Sky Striker, which only really summons once or twice per turn. But we'll see how it goes as he sets one. Looks like he set that Salamangreat Circle here, as Clay is now going to link off into a Sky Striker Ace Hayate off the Shizuku, and then swing for 15. Sky Striker monsters being all link 1 here. Very great. And then after damage calc, whenever she battles, she's going to dump a Sky Striker spell from the deck. Looks like she's going to dump a Shark Cannon. Very interesting to get that instead of the Engage. He might already have the Engage in hand, you never know. Or searching it off Shizuku later, planning for the future. That's what Clay likes to do. As a Kagari is now summoned, adding back that Shark Cannon you saw off screen there because of the effect there. Then Kagari is now going to be linked off into Shizuku, which will let him search it in phase here. And no Ash for that one this time. So let's see what Clay likes to get here. He's going to get an Engage. Engage being a very good card that recently came off the list. Salamangreat Circle is going to be chained it in phase. Going to have to put 2 effects up on the screen for that one. Just a lot of stuff happening in this game here. As Circle's going to attempt to search, and then Ash is going to say no to the Circle. Again, just Ash saying no to a lot of stuff this game. Drawing in draw phase, another Circle. Just going to go ahead and slap that down to search. Very good. Looks like he's maining 3 Nibiru's here, Patrick. Very good card to main in my personal opinion. It's very good this format, very nice this format, but at the same time, it can be dead against certain decks. So whether you want to put it in your side or the main deck, just depends on you as a person. I personally prefer it in the main deck, but as well as Patrick seems to do, but I know people like Clay Medina as well as, I don't know why I keep saying his last name here, as well as other people prefer to have it in the side, which again, more power to them with that. Looks like he's going to normal summon a Salamangreat Mirror at this point. That is a very interesting card. I haven't really seen that card played in Salamangreats yet. I mean, I read the effect whenever I was editing this video in post. It seems like a really great card. Looks like Balinx is going to get summoned here off the Salamangreat Mirror. And then, I guess the effect there must have got mixed up there. And then the Gazelle is going to get specialed off its own effect in the hand once that Balinx is summoned. So looks like the Balinx is going to add a Salamangreat Sanctuary, and then Gazelle's going to dump from the deck. Let's see what he decides to dump here. Salamangreat's getting dumped to the grave, very powerful in the deck. It grinds very well from the graveyard. The deck's grind power is, I'm not going to say it's unmatched, but it's one of the best grind decks out there, especially against control decks like Sky Striker and against other combo decks as well, because you will definitely have a good turn 2 whenever you're playing a Sal. If your board gets broken in Salamangreats, if you survive, you're definitely going to be able to set up for the next turn there. Dumping a Spinny now off the Salamangreat Gazelle. Spinny, very good card if you control Salamangreat card. It's just specials for free, and then it banishes itself unless you overlay with it into Mirage Stallion, in which case it'll go back to the grave to be used that next turn afterwards. Looks like we might have a response here from the Sky Striker side here. Looks like Shark Cannon's going to be activated to banish that Spinny, but he's not going to be able to specimen the Spinny to his board. Not that he would want to, I don't think. But Shark Cannon, a lot of the Sky Striker cards have the caveat if you have 3 other spells in the graveyard, just any spells really, not just Sky Striker spells, they get a little extra effect. Shark Cannon banishes from the opponent's graveyard, but if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can then special summon whatever you banished. Looks like now he's going to take that Bale Links and that Gazelle, link him off into Splash Mage because it is a Cyburst. And Salamangreats, as far as I know, don't lock you into fire, but we'll see how that goes off here. So next up, looks like Clay's going to let that resolve. Splash Mage is going to special from the graveyard that Gazelle right back, but he can't dump off Gazelle again because it is a hard once per turn, as much of the new link cards are. So we'll go, well, new, quote unquote. And looks like he's going to go into a Transcode Talker here. He's going to think better of that, actually. And let's see what else he decides to go into. He's going to go into one of the newer cards for Salamangreats, a Decode Talker Heat Soul. Can't believe I remember that name because I keep calling it, gosh, what I call it, Heat Code or something? I don't know. But it looks like he's going to attempt to pay 1,000 there to draw a card off the Heat Soul. Getting that free draw off the Decode Talker Heat Soul is just fantastic. Right there, because it is also during either person's turn, so you're basically getting 2 draws, so you could draw into a hand trap to mess with your opponent there. And it looks like he drew into Will of the Salamangreat. Will of the Salamangreat, also a very good card for Salamangreats. Again, just that grind game, it puts him right back onto the field from the graveyard. And he still has that Sanctuary in his hand, along with 2 Nibiru's, just in case. Those Nibiru's seem like a little bit dead. He might need to discard them off some effects, maybe. It is discard fodder for his hand, but at the same time, you never know when those could come up. So, because Sky Striker do have some combo potential, not a lot, but they do have some. Heat Soul is now going to swing into the Shizuku. He's only going to lose 100 of his attack off Shizuku's effect because of the fact that there's only 1 spell in the grave. And Clay's going to take a 700 off that, and then special summon the Ray from the graveyard since a Sky Striker was destroyed. Gazelle and Ray are going to trade on attack and defense there. Not very thick Ray, but also not very attack worthy is Gazelle. And then we're going to go into Linguribo, not a Linkuribo off the Gazelle, Linguribo. And Linguribo, again, it works somewhat with the AIs mostly, but when you're playing a Cyburst deck, you can definitely use it. And then at the end phase, looks like Ray is going to use her effect it is a quick effect, to basically link off into Sky Striker Ace, which will allow him to search off the Shizuku effect. Also in end phase, he's going to search for a multi-roll. Patty's going to show us those 2 Nibiru's and the Sanctuary in his hand, just to show that he is basically running blind here at this point. He's kind of top decking at the moment, but we'll see. That Heat Soul could come in handy here. Let's see if he decides to pay 1,000 to draw on Clay's turn, or if he's going to wait and see, because you never know. One of those 2 face downs could be a Widow Anchor. Widow Anchor being one of the most powerful cards, in my opinion, in Sky Striker. It's more powerful than Engage, in all honesty, because Widow Anchor is at 3, it negates, and also it takes stuff. So multi-roll is going to be activated, sending the Demise of the Land that he has face down. Demise of the Land, very interesting card. If you don't know, Sky Strikers have been playing Miss at mine recently, but also their field spell is very good. So it just lets him get anything that he wants, and just for that situation. So he's going to use the multi-roll, sending the Demise of the Land. Let's see, he's going to activate the Engage now, going to let him search, and then if he has 3 spell cards in the grave, he'll actually get to draw an additional card. Engage being very, very good, being banned on the list for a long time until, I believe it was 2 or 3 lists ago that it got unbanned. But yeah, that free draw one is insane, especially because you're able to recycle the Engage with a Kagari. So searching an Afterburner popping the Heat Soul there. Or maybe thinking better of it at this point. Let's see what else he's got in store. Heat Soul's going to pay 1,000 to let Patty draw a card here. Then Widow Anchor is going to be chained to that to make sure that he doesn't get that extra draw. That extra draw being a bit too powerful for Clay's taste. And since he does have 3 spells in the grave, that Widow Anchor is actually going to take the Heat Soul as well. Again, just a very powerful card. Very powerful card there, Widow Anchor. Going into an Access Code. Access Code, one of the best links ever created. And looks like Clay's going to get that game. We're going to go to game 2 here. Game 2, starting off with Salamangreat's side. Foxy being summoned. Excavating 3, getting a Will of the Salamangreat. Lets him excavate 3, get any Salamangreat card on summon, and then looks like he's going to link off into a Bale Links there. Not going to search, though, because it looks like he has that Sanctuary in the hand along with another Will. Looks like he definitely didn't hit what he wanted to off that excavate. And so Will the Salamangreat is going to be activated, bringing back out the Foxy. Spinny's going to be special summon from the hand, going into a Mirage Stalio here. Mirage Stalio is going to detach the search from the deck. Mirage Stalio being, as well as being unbanned, is just fantastic for the deck. It's just such a good card. Going into dumping a Roar off the Gazelle that he special summons off the Mirage Stalio there. And then linking off that Gazelle and the Bell Links into a Sunlight Wolf. Sanctuary is going to let him reincarnate Link Summon, which basically lets him link summon into something with the same name as what he links off with it, going into another Sunlight Wolf. But before he's able to get that Spell Trap add back to the hand off the effect of Sunlight Wolf, Nib is going to be activated and a rock is going to be dropped on Patty's field, unfortunately. Dwayne is going to come in with that People's Elbow and just wreck all those little Cyberse lizards there. Unfortunate. But now he's just going to set one and pass the turn. Let's see. Because Sky Strikers don't really have... They do have the ability to kill in one turn, but it's very rare to see because they are control decks, so Patty might be able to come back from this. As a Terraforming is activated and an Area 0 is added to hand. Very interesting play there. Let's go with an Upstart Goblin. Again, very interesting. Haven't seen that card in a long time. Going to draw an Ash off that. That could come in handy later. And looks like Clay drew the double Nib now. But it's actually against a combo deck now, so... Nib actually being able to be used there. I'm pretty sure Patty probably sided his out. So let's go ahead and activate an Area 0 here. Area 0 being able to get Sky Striker cards to the hand by targeting one, excavating 3, and then adding a Sky Striker card. Nib is going to swing into the token. And then we're going to go to main phase 2, use the effect of Area 0 here, targeting the Nib. Looks like he wants to keep that Area 0 on the field because his hand, looks like he's not too happy with his hand here, because if he was, he would just be using the effective Area 0 on itself. And looks like he didn't hit any Sky Striker cards, so the Nib will stay on the board instead of being sent to the graveyard. Looks like he's just going to pass the turn there, not even set some cards. Looks like he wants to just keep those cards in hand for whenever he doesn't have something in the main monster zone, because that is Sky Striker's caveat. You cannot have anything in the main monster zone for them to be live. And Patty's going to draw for turn, special the Gazelle off the Will of the Salamangreat, which will let him dump another thing from the deck. Again, just that grind game. He's being able to get as much value as he can off his monsters here. Going into Jack Jaguar now, dumping that to the graveyard. Just very good. That adds some recyclability to the deck as well. The recyclability of Jack Jaguar is great for the deck. The only issue with him really being he's a level 4, which is why I don't think a lot of people run him at multiples, which most decks run him as a one of. I'm not saying Patty's running him at multiple. I believe he's running one of in this build. But again, he's due to that being a level 4 instead of level 3 for the Mirage Stalio stuff, he's not... I mean, he definitely adds some recyclability to the deck, and also you only need one in the grave because he just keeps putting himself back out onto the field from the grave, so you really only need one in your build anyways. So basically going to put himself back out by putting a Sunlight Wolf back into the extra deck there. And let's see where he goes from here. Looks like he's going to link 2 now into a Splash Mage again. Splash Mage is going to let him special summon a Cyberse from the graveyard, but negate its effects. No limit on that Cyberse as well. No level limit, no nothing. Looks like he's going to summon that Mirage Stalio. And then that Spinny is going to get special summoned as well since he controls the Salamangreat, and then he did not use Spinny yet this turn. So looks like Mirage Stallion and Spinny might be getting linked off here, or he might be thinking better of it. Let's see what he decides to do. Looks like he's going to link off that Mirage Stallion and the Spinny here to go into an Update Jammer, or maybe thinking better of that actually. Linking off the Mirage Stallion and the Splash Mage now to go into Link 3 maybe, and yes it does. It's going to be a Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker, very powerful Link 3. Letting him special summon a Sunlight Wolf back from the graveyard, and if he wants to, he can actually reincarnate Link Summon that Sunlight Wolf, and looks like he's going to discard to special summon the Foxy from the graveyard. He's going to discard a Salamangreat, his other Will of the Salamangreat there, and then that Rage is still in the graveyard. We put the effect up just for your viewing pleasure. And he's got 4 monsters on the field now, a bunch of link numbers, so he can basically just go into whatever he wants here, in all honesty. Going to go into another Sunlight Wolf off the effect of Sanctuary. Sunlight Wolf is going to let him add a Rage, but it is an activated effect, so it doesn't activate on summon. It is it is a turn player having to activate that effect. So before he can do anything, another rock is going to get dropped. A roar is going to be chained to that. Salamangreat Roar is basically an Infernity barrier for Salamangrates there. So Salamangreat Roar is going to activate Negate and destroy the Nib in the hand, since Nib is an activated effect. And then the Rage is going to be, and then the Sunlight Wolf is going to be activated, adding the Rage back to hand from the graveyard. Going to link off that Transcode Talker and the Spinning now. Let's see what he's got in store here. Let's see what he's going to go into. Going to go into an Access Code there. Access Code, very generic materials for Link 4, very good. He's going to target that Transcode with it to make it 5300. And then Gazelle's going to get added back to hand off the Sunlight Wolf effect, being able to add back a monster whenever something special summoned to the zone it points to. And then the Access Code is going to banish the Splash Mage to blow up the Nibiru. And he's not going to blow up that Area 0 because he doesn't want him to get that Search-Special off it. I can't quite remember what it does. My apologies. But the Access Code and the Sunlight Wolf are going to swing, putting Clay at 900 to 9,000. Clay's got some ground to make up here, but let's see if he can do it. Because if any deck can do it, it is Sky Strikers. So he's going to target the face down that he just set with the Area 0, adding a Rose, or Rose if you want to, like Super Saiyan Rose. Sending a summon limit that he targeted with the Area 0 to add that Rose to hand. Getting him that monster that he needs to get the Sky Striker extra deck on the board now. And it looks like Jamming Waves is going to be activated to pop some stuff. Let's go ahead and pop that face down there. And looks like he is going to pop a Cosmic Cyclone. Again, Area 0 says if it leaves the field by a card effect, not if it's destroyed. So even if Cyclone did banish it, he would still be able to get that effect off Area 0, which Patty does not want in this circumstance. So looks like that Jamming Waves is definitely going to pop the Cosmic Cyclone, but he doesn't get the extra effect because he doesn't have enough spells in the grave for that little extra effect that he gets off that. But he does have a Widow Anchor in hand, and he does have a Rose. So let's see what he does with that Widow Anchor. He's going to target the Sunlight Wolf to make sure that he cannot use that Salamangreat Rage that he has set. Let's see if Patty has any response to that. Looks like he's going to chain the Rage, targeting himself and targeting the Widow Anchors. That way he does not get the actual monster. And then the Gazelle is going to special summon itself from the hand and then dump from the deck. Let's see if Clay has a response to the dump. He's going to check the graveyard because he did have that Ash that he drew off the upstart. So let's see if it comes in handy here. And it looks like Ash is indeed going to say no to that Gazelle. And then now that he doesn't have to worry about any back row and Patty is top decking at this point with his hand, he's just going to normal summon that Rose and then just go ham with the Sky Striker combos here. So let's see if he wants to go into Hayate or Kagari first. Looks like he's going to go into Hayate. Hayate is going to attempt to swing probably in the battle phase here. Unless he has any response to the summon of Hayate. Looks like he does not, so Hayate is going to swing into the Gazelle, actually. Now, Hayate does not need to do damage in order for effect to activate. It's just if she battles at all. The fact that she can just attack directly is just a little icing on the cake for the Sky Striker deck. So it looks like she's going to swing and then dump a Sky Striker card from the deck to the graveyard. Looks like he's going to dump that Engage because Engage is probably one of the best cards in the deck. Second best, in my opinion, being Widow Anchor. Or Ray. I guess they're tied for that. Kagari being summoned. Not really going to use the effect on all these Sky Strikers because I used them in game 1 and they summon too often to keep putting the effect on screen over and over. Kagari's going to add that Engage, which is going to add Afterburners, and then let him draw a card since he does have 4 spells in the grave on the activation of the Engage, so he's going to get that extra draw. It looks like he drew into a Mystic Crime. Pure skill, guys. Pure skill. Best card. Let's go. Afterburner going to blow up that access code so he doesn't have to worry about the damage being taken anymore. And then he's also going to try and pop that Foxy, but the Veil Links is going to protect it there. Now Rose is going to be activated to special summon itself since a monster on the opponent's field was destroyed. Not Ray special summons whenever your monster is destroyed. Rose special summons whenever your opponent's monster is destroyed. So now we have 2 Sky Striker monsters on the board. But he cannot, none of the spells in his hand are live unless he controls nothing in his main monster zone, so unless they're like generic spells. Sky Striker spells are not live for clarity's sake. So let's see what he decides to do here. He is going to probably link off that Rose and the Kagari. Let's see what he decides to go into here. He could probably go into Zeke here because that is a Sky Striker Link 2, or he might have a generic Link 2 in his deck. Looks like he's got a Selene in there, a Dark Charmer. Dark Charmer could also be very interesting, especially if he has that access code in the grade that he can take. And looks like the Zeke is going to be special summoned. And let's see what he decides to do here. Zeke's going to use this effect to banish itself, and then he's going to activate Mystic Mine over his Area 0. Banishing that Zeke off its own effect, very, very good for that Mystic Mine play, because that means he will not control any monsters, so Patty is going to have to find an out for that Mystic Mine. Which, that Cosmic Cyclone was one out, but it was popped off the Jamming Waves. Special summoning Bale Links, I believe, off Will of Salamangreat, maybe. And let's see what else he has in store here. He can go into Link 2 here, or he's just going to go into another Link 1. He's going to go into another Bale Links. Bale Links just being in the graveyard is great because it just protects all your stuff. It protects your Salamangreat stuff. Adding back the Salamangreat Roar now and setting it, but it will get banished whenever it leaves the field now because he did not add it off the effect of Sunlight Wolf. Looks like he's going to pass turn there, and Zeke's going to special summon itself. Drawing a summon limit there, that could come in handy later, especially with that Mystic Mine still being on the board. And let's see if Zeke has anything to say about this situation here. Zeke, very good card for Sky Strikers. Not as good as some of the cards coming out in November, but it's still a pretty good Link 2. Looks like he's going to Link 1 with it, and this is one of the reasons why good he can just Link 1 with it into another Sky Striker. So it looks like he's going to maybe go into another Hayate here. Yes, indeed. And that's going to swing directly, or no, it's actually going to swing at the Bale Links for some damage, 500 damage, and then letting him dump again. Let's see if he decides to protect it with that Bale Links in the graveyard. And looks like he decides it is worth protecting, so the Hayate is going to swing for 1,000 damage since Bale Links is only 500 attack points. And then the Hayate is going to get a dump off a Sky Striker spell from the deck if he so chooses. He might be deciding not to at the moment there, but they are calculating the damage at the moment unless he wants to dump from the deck of the Hayate. And then the Kagari can get him whatever he dumps back, which is, again, just very nice for Sky Strikers, allows for that consistency. Looks like he's not going to dump, though, actually, out the Hayate. He looks like he's just going to set one here and then pass the turn. He's not even going to go into Kagari. He might be out. You never know. Or if you're watching this video, you could rewind and then you would know. Looks like Salamangreat Circle is going to be activated in draw phase. He does have that summon limit face down along with the Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine, very ban-worthy card in my opinion. Let's just say that. Yeah, longtime viewers of this channel will know that I am not a fan of Mystic Mine, especially at 3. I could understand if it was at 1, but gosh dang, that card needs to go. Falco is now going to be normal summon, but it doesn't get the effect, again, off Mystic Mine. If Mystic Mine said cards your opponent controls like Rexsturm, then it would be a lot more manageable, but the fact that you can't activate any monster effects at all, even in the hand and the grave for it, is just insane. So it looks like he's going to go into Transcode Talker. He's not going to activate the effect of Transcode Talker because he wants to keep that 1-to-1 monster ratio on the board, because he will be able to activate monster effects while Mystic Mine is on the board. Looks like he's going to attempt to read Falco here, see if there's any advantage that Falco can give him, but looks like Summon Limit's going to be chained to any activation that he has in the graveyard here. Rage is going to be set off an effect, and the Salamangreat Rage is going to allow him to have that little extra pop power that he needs. And the Summon Limit, very good against combo decks, but let's see if it actually comes through this late in the game. Also, let me know in the comments how this new microphone sounds. I know it's kind of late in the video for that, but let me know. It's pretty fun. And now Mystic Mine's going to blow itself up off its own effect since they both control the same amount of monsters. He does have that summon limit, so he cannot go into too many Sky Strikers here, but we'll see how that works out, because summon limit counts any summons, not just special summons. So 1,500 swinging directly for the Hayate, and then the dumping a Ray to the graveyard off the Hayate because it just sends any Sky Striker card, not just a spell. And then he top deck an Ash. That Ash could come in handy later. So it looks like he's going to link the Hayate off now after battle phase. Let's see if he's got another Kagari. Looks like he does. And then that Kagari is going to let him add. He might decide to add the Widow Anchor. He might decide to add that Engage for the extra draw. Let's see what he decides to add here. Looks like he's going to spring for the Afterburners, actually. The Afterburner being a very good card to get that transcode off the board, because he does not want that thing to stay. Because that thing can and will be a problem, because it can run over any Sky Striker that he has and also put something back out from the graveyard. Looks like Afterburner is going to blow up the Transcode and attempt to blow up the Will of the Salamangreat, but the Bellwings is going to protect the Will because the Will is basically putting out monsters every turn, which is very good for Patty, especially when he's got one card in hand at the moment. Shizuku is now going to be activated, or summoned, and then activated at end phase, presumably. That is his second summon, so Summon Limit is now live on Clay's side, so he cannot summon again. Ash is going to say no again this game to the Shizuku. That Shizuku is not able to get her effects off as much as she wants. And then Circle is going to be activated. Ash is going to say no to the Circle. Ash is she is having a good time over there in the corner of this game. It is just, she is doing great. He still has that Will of the Salamangreat though, so he can put stuff back out from the graveyard. His turn is still live. He's not dead in the water yet. Special summoning the Gazelle off the Will of the Salamangreat, which will let him dump another Salamangreat card from the deck to the grave. Let's see what he decides to dump. He's going to dump that Spinny, letting him get an extra monster on the board. Extra body for more Link summoning here. Falco is going to add that Gazelle back to the hand to special summon itself from the graveyard. Spinny is just going to be live regardless, as long as he controls another Salamangreat card or monster. I can't quite remember the effect off the top of my head. Make sure to let me know in the comments. So let's see what he decides to do here with that Falco on the board. Looks like he's going to activate that Rage, targeting the Falco and targeting the Summon Limit to blow them both up. So now Patty's turn is completely live. No more Floodgates to worry about here. Going to put that Gazelle on the board from the hand off the destruction of the Falco, off its own effect, but he does not get the dump again. He only gets that dump once, because that is a hard once per turn effect. His extra deck is running a little low here, it seems, but let's see if he's able to summon into anything worthwhile for the turn. Because Clay does have that Ray in the grave, as well as Shizuku basically making all of Patty's monsters lose a crap ton of attack. By summoning Spinny from the graveyard, looks like he's going to link 2 into Gazelle and the Spinny to go into Splash Mage. Splash Mage is going to let him summon back any Cyburst from the grave, but its effects are negated. And looks like he's going to summon into a Jack Jaguar. Jack Jaguar now going to link off with the Splash Mage to go into link 3. Looks like he's going to go into Heat Soul here, pay 1,000 to draw a card. Let's see if he's drawing for that out there, folks. Let's see if he gets it. Then passing the turn to Clay there. Drawing for turn on Clay's side. Looks like he drew into Metaverse, so that another Missing Mount will probably be live. Looks like he's going to pay 1,000 again for the Heat Soul. I don't know if I did it right the last turn because I didn't see him draw off, so my apologies, Patty, if you're watching this. And let's see if he drew anything worthwhile there. Looks like he drew into Spell. Looks like a Nobleman of Crossout, unfortunately, which isn't the best card to be drawing at this moment. But again, he still has a substantial lead on Clay in terms of life points. Clay can only keep hitting him with Hayates over and over. And looks like Patty's just going to scoop there. Sky Striker take the match.